joints are having good strength as compared to the other joints that we'll be discussing today. What are the other types of joint? And we'll be performing or demonstrating. I'll be demonstrating to you one more type of joint that will be made by the instructor in the laboratory, in the lab or the workshop. So that you'll be seeing. But first we will be doing some theory. Okay. I was supposed to give you the manual. Okay, right? I told you that I'll be uploading the manual or giving it to the CR.
Yes,
CR
sir, but
CR,
uploaded.
yes, CR is very sincere. He contacted me, he messaged me, he reminded me. But there was a problem. There was a problem that in the manual, we have a newly made manual for carpentry shop. And in that, the portion, the theory part, which was mentioned was something different, which I taught you in the class. I taught you regarding the tools and the equipments that we use, softwood and the hardwood. But this was not there in the manual. But this is a very important part because if you are using the tools in the workshop, this has to be written in your lab manual because these will be the questions which will be asked to you, which will be put to you in the viva. Okay, so external when he'll come, the most common thing is what tools you have used for the specific operation, right? So today I'll be telling you how to write the manual. That is why I have not shared. So at the end of the class, we'll be discussing this, how you will be writing the manual, and then I'll be sharing the manual with you, and the part which is not there, you have to write it from the books also. Okay, I've told you the name of the books, or else if the book is not with you right now because the library is closed, so you can go on the internet and you can search for the material. There's a lot of material on this topic on the internet. So you'll be getting all the material which is to be written in your manual. So that is not a problem. So we'll be discussing this at the end of the class. So first of all, we'll start with the class, and first we'll cover some part of theory. Then we'll come to the practical part of it. I'll be showing you the videos of the performance of carpentry in the workshop. So give me a minute. I'll be sharing the PPT first. Okay, as far as the Y batch students are concerned, have you started with the carpentry shop?
Yes, sir, we have completed Dovital joint, lab joint, T joint, and
Okay,
sir, also molding shop. We have written the practical,
okay.
and sir, welding also.
So you have completed a lot of syllabus. So what is remaining? Then what
Three
will you do?
practicals, sir.
Huh?
Three practicals completed, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Three practicals
Sir, we are going
completed.
very fast. So we are done till foundry shop.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Are you studying the theory in the class also? Is your faculty teaching you the theory, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, our teacher is very fast.
Okay, so he's going at a very high speed.
Sir, but we understand.
Yes.
So this is the carpentry shop that we have studied in the last class. So I'll not go through these. This is what we have studied, the objectives, the classification of wood we have seen, softwood and the hardwood, the difference we have seen. We have compared these two types of wood on the basis of various characteristics such as color, weight, density. All this was done in the last class. So these are the various tools that were used and or that we use in the carpentry shop, right? So the tools were classified into, if you remember the last class, so the tools were classified into various categories. The first category was measuring and the marking tool, which you use for measuring and the marking. So steel rule, steel tape, marking gauge, mortise gauge. What is the difference between marking and the mortise? This we have seen discussed. Then tri-square was discussed. The purpose of tri-square. Scriber was the marking tool. Okay, then the second category was holding tool. So this is the holding tool, and in this we have seen the vise, carpenter's vise or the bench vise that we say. Then the C clamp, bar clamp. These are used for clamping the workpiece. Then the next category was planing tool. planing or the finishing tool. In this category, we have seen the jack plane, the wooden jack plane, the metallic jack plane, right? This was seen. Then we have seen the planing tools. Uh, Again, these are the various types of planes. Then again, this is the finishing tool, which is called as the file. Okay, like jack plane. Jack plane was also okay. Is the slide gone from your screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Just a
sir.
minute. There's some problem. Let me upload once again. It is getting uploaded. In the meantime, I'll go to the other team and let me make sure that there is no student there. Na? So just wait for 1 minute because there is one meeting scheduled there, I think.
Is anyone left?
Okay. So these are the files which you can see on your screen. So again, these files fall into the category of finishing tool. Uh, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So these are the tools, finishing tools, which are the file. Okay. So Rasp file is one of the most commonly used file for finishing purpose, which is made up of metallic blade and the wooden handle. Okay, you hold this from the wooden handle and you rub the, or you just move the metallic frame, which is having the roughness on one of the surface, and you finish the workpiece. Okay. Then we have cutting tools. This is the third category. So first was measuring marking tool, second is the finishing tool, and third is the cutting tool. So in cutting tool, we have used the saw. Okay, this is the saw, and again this is a metallic blade, which is made up of high carbon steel, which is having high hardness, and on the lower surface you can see there are teeth. You can see the profile of the teeth. So there are different profile of the teeth on the different types of saws. These saw are used as per your requirement. If you want to take a cut across the wood, if you want to cut the wood across, okay, into two pieces, then you will use one type of saw, that is the cross cut saw. The name itself says you are cutting across, okay, across the grains. So this is the saw which you will be using. If you want to take a light cut, then you will use a different type of saw. You will be using either a tenon saw, okay, or a keyhole saw, or different type of saw. So depending on the type of cut, there are various classifications of saw itself. So this was one of the saw that we have seen. This is rib saw. This is tenon saw. This is compass saw if you want to take a very small cut. These are the chisels. Chisels are again the cutting tools. So there are different type of chisel. In this figure, you can see firmer chisel, dovetail chisel, and the mortise chisel. So you can see the cross section of these chisels are different. So if you want to take a very big cut, then you will go for a firmer chisel because you can see the surface area or the this thing thickness of the blade is large as compared to the mortise chisel. Okay, if you want to take a specific type of cut having a specific shape, then you will go for the dovetails chisel. And if you want to take a very small cut, if you want to cut a very small piece, then you'll go for the mortise chisel. So these are the different types of chisel. So chisels are also the cutting tools. This is firmer chisel, this is dovetail chisel, this is mortise chisel in detail. Then mallet, we have seen it is a wooden hammer. We are using a wooden hammer because we want to protect our workpiece from damage. If you would have used the metallic hammer, then it would have damaged your workpiece because wood is soft, right? In the wooden hammer, and this is called as mallet. So sometimes it is a wooden hammer, sometimes it is made up of plastic also. So these are the hammers that we will be using. This is a pincer which is used for pulling out the nail from the wooden piece. Then again a claw hammer. Now this is a metallic hammer, and if you want to apply a large force and if you want to hammer a nail into the this thing wooden workpiece, because when you are making a furniture or you are making any object like almirah, then you have to join two parts. For that purpose, you have to put the nail into the workpiece, right? And for hammering the nail, the wooden hammer will not work there. So in that case, you have to use the metallic hammer. So this metallic hammer are also of various type depending on the face. Here you can see it is a ball shape surface. Okay, so it is called as ball peen hammer. Similarly, there are hammers which are having flat surfaces, right? There are hammers which are having very broad surfaces depending upon the application. On the other side, you can see the two claws. The purpose of these two claw is to pull out the nail. Many a times you want to disassemble also the parts which are made up of wood. So in that case, you have to disassemble the joint. So you have to uh, take out all the mechanical clampings or all the clamps which are put into the different components, different parts of the wood. So in that case, what you do, you just pull out the nail, and this claw, you can see the claw on the other hand. So with the help of this claw, you pull out the nail. So this is called as claw hammer. Then screwdriver for again for putting the screw into the wooden piece, again for clamping. Now we come to this much we have done in the last class, I think. Now we'll see the what are the various types of joints, because in the workshop you will be making the joints, right? Any wooden article, any wooden furniture is having a number of joints. For example, if you see a cupboard, right? Cupboard is made up of many single parts, like the door of the cupboard, the roof of the cupboard, the back part of the cupboard. Okay, so all these are made separately, and after that they are joined, right? They are joined one into the other. So what is the way, what are the methods by which you join the two wooden parts? Okay, so this is the importance where the joints come in. Okay, there are some joints which will be having a very good strength. There are some joints which will not be having that much of strength, but they are necessary because there is no other way. Because they have a particular shape, this thing furniture has a peculiar shape, so you have to go for that particular type of joint. So in the figure you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 types of joints are there, out of which one we have made in the last class. Which one was that? The joint
Lap.
which we have
Cross lap joint.
in the figure. Can you see that joint? Is
Yes,
it
sir.
there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is there. Which one?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
Lap joint.
Yes.
Lap joint. Okay. Was it exactly the same that we have done in the last class?
Yes,
Was
sir.
it exactly the same or not?
No,
Or
sir.
not?
No, sir.
No, no. Okay.
The,
So what
that
was
was
the
a plus sign. This is a T shape.
exactly? Who answered this? Divyam.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Good observation, Divyam. So that was a cross lap joint, and this is a T cross lap joint. Okay. So you can see the difference. No doubt that one part is overlapping the other, but the way they are overlapping in this, it is making a T shape, right? And in the previous one which we have made, it was a cross shape. So that was called as cross lap joint, and this is called as T lap joint, right? So one by one, although we will be making only 2 joints in our practical, but you should know all these joints. So very quickly we'll go through them, and we'll see what are they. So the first is the butt joint. Okay. So in this joint, these are the lap joint which I'd mentioned. This is the corner lap joint, which is joint from the corner. This is the T lap joint, which was there in the previous figure. And this is the dovetail joint. You can see a particular shape, okay, on the both the parts of the wood, right? One shape which you make on the one part, the opposite shape you have to make on the mating part. Then only the joint will take place. So this is called as dovetail joint. Okay, although the cross lap joint is not shown here, but you know what is cross lap joint. Here you can see the cross lap joint. The first figure is showing the cross lap joint. The two halves of the joint make the full thickness. And these lap joints are used in the frames or the rails. These are the applications where these joints are used. Okay. So the first you can see cross lap, the second you can see corner lap joint, then T lap joint, and fourth is dovetail lap joint. So all the 4 joints are there in this figure. So now you can make out the difference between these all the 4 joints, although they are lap joints, but they are different types of lap joints. Okay, so we'll discuss the other joints also in this. The first is butt joint. Now you can see the butt joint. In this one of the part of the wood is lying horizontal and other is lying vertical, and we can say that they are joined from end to end. Okay, there is no overlapping between these two. They are joined from end to end. Okay, it could be from face to face, or it could be from face of one block to the front portion of the other block, as it is in this case, right? So this is called as the butt joint. So the end of a piece of a wood is butted. We can say that this piece of wood is butted against another piece of wood. This is the simplest and the weakest joint. Although this is simplest because we do not have to cut it, but it is the weakest joint. Okay. Now this will be this is also of various types. So we can say that it is T butt. One of the joint is T butt. Another joint is end to end butt, in which the two facing surfaces are joined together, right? So then there is edge to edge butt joint, although the figure is not there. So you do not have to remember so much in detail. You should know only what is butt joint. Okay, if somebody asks you in Viva what is butt joint, your answer should be in this: the end of a piece of wood is butted against the another piece of wood. Okay, this is the butt joint, and this is the weakest joint. It do not have as much strength as the other type of joint, such as the lap joint. Okay, because we are not cutting it, we are just joining the two this thing parts of the wood. Then after that, you can see in the figure there is a dowel joint. In this joint, what did you make up? The two parts are joined in which form?
Horizontal. Pinhole.
In one we are making a hole, and in other you can see a sort of pin. Can you see there are some outgrowths in there are 2 pins there. Okay. So in one we are making a hole, and another we are forming a sort of pin, and these pins are called as dowel pins. These pins are called as dowel, DOWEL. Dowel pins are formed on one of the part, right? So the end of a piece of a wood is butted against another piece of wood. This is reinforced with the dowel pins, right? This joint is quick to make with production like machinery. So it is a very common joint in factory made furniture. So this is difficult to make by the manual tools. Like you have seen, the cross lap joint is very easy. You just have to take the saw, cut it across, and you have to use the chisel. That's all. But for making but for formation of these specific type of pins, it is very difficult to make from the manual tools. So we have to use some specific machines, and therefore it is very common joint in the factory made furniture, the furniture which is made in the factory. This joint is used there. Understood?
Yes.
Then the third type of joint you can see is the dado joint, D-A-D-O. So what is your observation in this? What is this?
A slit is formed.
Yes, a slot is cut across the grain in one piece. There is a
Yes.
slot which is cut across the wood, or we can say across the grains in one piece, and another piece is fixed into that slot. It is put into that slot. Okay. So this joint is also called as housing joint, or it is also called as trench joint. Housing, Housing, or Trench. These are the other name for the dado joint. Okay. And what is the application for this joint? In the shelf, in the bookshelf. You must be having bookshelf in your house, and if you see that shelves on the shelves which are there on the bookshelf having slots cut into the sides of the shelf, right? So there you use the dado joint. Then we have rabbet joint, R-A-B-B-E-T, rabbet joint. So what is your observation in this?
So it's a dado joint in the end.
So the
Yes.
slit is cut at the end.
It is. We can say it is basically a dado cut along the edge of the board.
Yes, sir.
Am I true? A rabbet
Yes,
is
sir.
essentially a dado which is cut at the edge of the board, right? Rabbets are often used at the back of cabinets. If you see the cabinets at your house, at the back of the cabinet, you will find this type of joint. Okay, and other similar assemblies where you need to attach the back to the sides of the box. Yes, so there this joint is used. So this type of joint is having a very high strength. So whenever you are using this joint, you are adding a considerable amount of strength to your assembly. Your assembly becomes, or the furniture that you make, it becomes a very strong structure if you are using the rabbet joint. Then lap joint. Now this we have discussed, and this we have made lap joint. Okay. Then we come to the mortise and tenon joint. So what is this? What is your observation in this mortise and tenon joint?
So this joint is used in making windows.
Okay, yes,
I saw
correct.
it in my house. I saw it in my
Exactly,
house.
Yes,
Getting
sir.
made.
exactly.
And
Who
it's
answered
really
this question?
strong. So Yuvraj Walia.
Yuvraj, very good. This is used in the windows. Very correct. So this is used in the windows, cabinets, doors. Uh, these are the areas where you use this type of joint. So in this you can see there is a stub which is called as tenon that will fit tightly into the hole, and this hole is cut for that particular stub. Okay, and this hole is called as mortise. Okay, so the thing to remember here is that the stub is called as tenon, and the hole in which it gets fitted is called as mortise. Therefore the name is mortise and tenon joint. Okay, the stub is tenon and the hole is mortise, and you assemble these two after forming these two this thing parts of the joint. Okay, then we'll move forward, and the last is the mitre joint, M-I-T-E-R, mitre joint. So what it is? Any observations in mitre joint?
So they join on the
Yeah, it is
edges.
using,
Yes,
it is
exactly.
using photo frame.
They are joined on the edges. One of this observation is very correct, very true. They are joined on the edges. Anything else?
Sir,
Any
It
other
is
they're
good
at
being
the
used in photo frames.
They are joined at the ends or at the edges. This is very true. Is it having some resemblance to the butt joint? Is it having
sir,
any resemblance to the butt joint or no? Or it is exactly different from the butt joint?
Yes, sir. It is having kind of.
Yes, it is having the resemblance. If it is having the resemblance, then what is the difference between these two? If we are naming it differently, then there is some point of difference. But by
Okay, and then
observation, yes, exactly, very correct. So in this, you are
Has cell disconnected?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
yes, students. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you are audible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. There was a connectivity issue. I have joined back again. Just sharing the slide again. Okay, so we come on the slide of this joints. I hope this various types of joints, their application and the difference as far as the strength of the joints are concerned, you are clear with it. Is it clear to you all?
Yes.
Okay, so then we'll move forward because just remember, this is a very important question as far as the Viva is concerned, right? So if a person who is taking the Viva, he may ask you what are the different types of joints and what is, he may also ask you to draw on the paper. So you have to draw a rough figure which will differentiate between any two or three type of joint which he is asking you, and you have to explain and you have to give the applications where these type of joints are used. Like some of them are used in windows, some of them are used in cabinets, some of them are used in furnitures, right? So all these things should be known to you. So my advice to you is to keep a copy and the paper, and whatever I'm telling you, the small points, you should note it down, because these are some very important questions which you might get in your Viva. Okay, so this is the lap joint that we have seen. Now we come to our next topic, that is the wood versus the timber, right? So since the raw material in the carpentry shop is wood, okay, so you should be able to answer, or you should know what is the difference between wood and timber. We say that we require timber for making this particular furniture, or for making this particular product of wood. We say that na timber, the material is timber. Okay, so whether wood or timber are one and the same thing, or they are different, and if they are different, what is the difference between them? So if you are studying the carpentry shop, this is also a very important question, right? So we'll see what is wood. The term wood is used to refer to the substance that makes up the tree. It is the hard, fibrous structure, tissue that is commonly found in the stem and the roots of the trees. Okay, the primary function of the wood is to support the tree, enabling it to grow straight and tall, enough to be able to absorb sunlight for photosynthesis. Wood also enables the transfer of water and nutrients to grow tissues and leaves. And we come to timber then. The term timber is used to refer to the wood at any stage after the tree has been felled. This can include the raw material, also known as rough timber, or the processed material. So I have read the definition. Now you tell me what is the difference. If somebody asks you or puts a question to you, कि beta you have worked in the carpentry shop. Now tell me, are you working with wood or are you working with timber? And what is the difference between these two? So what will be your answer?
Sir, timber.
Timber, exactly. Now he will ask you next question. What is the difference between these two?
So when we process the wood to work on it, it becomes timber.
Okay. So when it is in the tree, right? You know that the tree is having the upper crown, which is made up of the leaves. Then you have the actual wood. Okay. And then you have the roots, right? Roots are used for taking the minerals from the soil, and it is transferred through the wooden part, that is the stem, through the to the leaves, where all the process like photosynthesis goes on and the tree grows. Right. So in that case, until it is in the tree, it is called as wood. When you cut this wood for construction purpose or for manufacturing something or for making some products out of it, then it becomes a timber. You never use the wood in its raw form. You never use the wood in the form as it is cut. Okay, because it is not usable. Exactly, it is not usable when it is in the same form. So you carry out many processes, like you have to remove the moisture, because when it is cut from the tree, it is having some softness, it is having some resins in it, it is having some fibrous parts. Okay, because it was a living object. It was giving the it was supplying the nutrients from the roots to the trees. Okay, but when you cut the wood, now it has become some product for you, or some material for you. Uh, to be very precise, it has become the raw material in the carpentry shop. Okay, so you require certain properties in it. Okay, like strength, it should have a particular strength. It should be easily workable. That means you should be easily cut into different sizes. Also, you should be able to finish or plane the this thing wood before um, manufacturing something from it. So all these things are required to be there in the timber, in the wood that you are using as a raw material, and hence now this wood will be called as timber after it has been processed. Okay, so this is the difference between the wood and the timber. So this is the cross section of a tree when you cut it. Okay, so you must be aware, I think you must have studied in your classes, that the trees can be classified into two broad two broad categories, and that is endogenous trees and the exogenous trees. Do you know it now? Do you know this? Yes, Aditya Kumar.
No, sir. Please tell once.
The trees can be classified into endogenous and exogenous tree. Do you know this?
No, sir.
You have not studied about this in your schools or
No, sir. No, sir.
so. Endogenous trees are those trees that grow inwards from outside to inward in a longitudinal fibrous mass. Okay, the example of such tree are banana, bamboo, palm, and cane. And exogenous trees are those that grow outwards from inside to outside by addition of one concentric ring every year. So there is the formation of concentric ring every year. This is called as annular ring. So if you want to know the age of the tree, you just have to count the number of rings when you cut the tree, and when you look it into the cross section, you count the number of rings. Okay, by counting the number of rings, you will be able to reach the conclusion what is the age of the tree. So this is the this thing characteristic of the exogenous tree because it is growing outwards from inside to outward. So this is the difference between the exogenous and the endogenous trees. So this is the cross section of a exogenous tree. So you can see here pith. Pith is the central portion which takes the nutrients from the soil, which is taken by the roots to the upper portion, that is the leaves. Then heartwood, this rings which is surrounding the pith is called as heartwood, and this is very hard. Okay. Then you can see when you move away from the pith, you see there is a sapwood. This wood is softer wood, right? And the function of this wood is that it takes the minerals from the soil to the leaves, and hence it is soft in nature. And this basically this sapwood is not usable if you are looking it from the carpentry point of view, because you require hardwood for manufacturing of any component. So you have to process and you have to remove this sapwood so that you are having the hardwood that can be processed. Okay, so all this processing, after processing all this, you call it a timber. The wood becomes a timber. So the sapwood is soft in nature. Then there is bark, this outermost covering of the tree, which is hard, which protects the inner areas of the this thing tree, is called as bark. Okay, medullary rays, these are the rays which are radial and coming out from the pith and give and supplying the nutrients in the radial directions. So this is the cross section of a wood. Then we come to the defects in timber. So these are the commonly found defects, that is knots. So knots are the most common defect caused due to the natural forces. During the growth of a tree, branches close to the ground or lower branches die. So this takes place when the branches which are close to the ground or lower branches, the branches which are at the lower part of the tree, they die during the growth process of the tree, and bases of these branches remain in the tree as tree grows. So after these die and these are no longer alive, so what happens? The parts of these branches remains in the tree. Okay, they are entrapped in the tree while the tree is growing. These bases may create imperfection known as knots, and these are called as knots, right? So what are knots? These are those branches which are at the lower end of the tree, which die as the tree is growing due to various reasons. It could be because of non-supply of this thing, minerals and some other water, right? So, but instead of falling away from the tree, it gets entrapped into the tree. Okay, so these branches remain in the tree as the tree grows, and these bases may create imperfections. So so when you see the wood of the tree, you will find that these branches are there, and it is creating some sort of imperfection. It is not very smooth. Appearance will itself show you that the smoothness in the wood is not there, and it results in the form of a defect in the timber, which is called as knots, KNOTS. So now you know what is the knots. What is the effect of knot? Knots decrease the strength of the wood and thus lower its value for structural uses. So if this defect is there, too much of this defect is there, so it makes the wood weak. The strength is not there. It loses the strength. Okay, and then we say that it is not suitable for construction purpose, because we need wood for construction also. So if it is not having strength, we are not using it for the construction purpose or the structural uses. So this is knots. So these knots are of two types: dead knots and the live knots. So what is a dead knot? The remains of damaged branches after drying out, they become loose and fall out. Dead knots are loosely attached and reduce strength. So when these branches die and they are no longer alive, so they are called as dead knots. Whereas the live knots, they are sound and firm, if small, are not greater of a defect. Live knots are usually not a problem as they remain firmly attached to the timber. So this live knot is of a very small size. So here in the figure you can see a bigger size, a dead branch which is entrapped into the wood is a dead knot, and a small portion which is still alive and which can be removed out from the wood, it is called as live knot. Okay. Then we have shakes. This is another defect. So shakes are timber defects that occur around the annual ring or growth ring of a timber. So as we have seen in the figure cross section, there were rings around the pith and they are called as annual ring. Every year the tree develops one ring. Okay, and if you count the number of rings, you will come to know what is the age of the tree. So what are star stakes? This type of stakes starts propagating from the bark towards the sapwood and sometimes even towards the heartwood along the lines of medullary rays. Cracks are wider on the outer edge or bark and narrower on the inside. Okay. The main reason behind star stakes are extreme heat or frosting during the growth of the tree and rapid or uneven seasoning after cutting off the timber. Extreme heat or frost causes temperature difference, which causes shrinkage, leading to the crack. So this is the star shakes. I'll show you the figure at the end. That will make it clear. What is this? Then you have a cup or a ring shake. Cup shake follows the annual growth ring. It is capable to separate the growth ring partially or completely. When the crack separates the annual ring completely, it is called as ring shakes. So all ring shakes are cup shakes, but all cup shakes are not a ring shake. Excessive frost action is the main reason for this type of crack. Then we come to heart shakes. Heart shakes starts propagating from the pith to the sapwood along the lines of medullary rays. Shrinkage of the interior part of the timber causes this crack. So here in the figure, it will be clear to you, star shake. So it is on the outer surface of the tree. So it is V shape and it is propagating from outward to inward. Okay. Whereas ring shake, it is somewhat in the form of ring. If it is complete around the angular circular ring, then it is called as ring shape. And if it is partially, then it is called as a cup shake. And heart shake, it is in the form of star, originating from the center. That is the pith of the tree. Now the last topic in this is seasoning of food. So this is basically, this means you have to bring the properties of the wood that you have cut to your required desirable demands. Okay, that you should have this much of strength, you should have this much of moisture into the wood. So that is achieved by a process which is called as seasoning of wood. Okay. So the seasoning of food is the process by which the moisture in the wood is reduced to the required level. You reduce the moisture, and suddenly if you reduce the moisture, it will become hard and the strength will automatically increase. So by reducing the moisture content, strength, elasticity, and durability properties are developed. So if you just reduce the moisture, these are the benefits that the strength, elasticity, and durability of the wood will be induced in it. A well-seasoned wood contains 15% moisture content. So if your wood is perfectly seasoned, then it will only have 15% moisture content. Okay. It is a process by which the amount of moisture in a freshly cut tree is reduced to a suitable level. Doing this increases the durability of the wood. Now we see types of seasoning of timber. So we have natural seasoning, in which we have two types, water seasoning and air seasoning, right? So in water seasoning, these two types are the natural seasoning process. So first is water seasoning. In water seasoning is the process in which the timber is immersed in water flow, which helps to remove the sap present in the timber. It will take 2 to 4 weeks of time, and after that the timber is allowed to dry. Well seasoned timber is ready to use. So what we do in this, there's a flow of water, the water continuously flowing. Okay, you can go to a river or any place where the water is continuously flowing, right? So in that you place the wood, and you place the wood for some time. It could be ranging from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. So because of the flow of water, because of the force of water, what will happen? It will take away the sap. What is sap? Sap is the outermost part of the tree. It is soft in nature. It is the part of wood itself. Sap is wood, no doubt, but it is very soft. And the function of sap is that it takes the nutrients like mineral and the water from the soil with the help of root to the leaves. Okay, but this sap, as far as our purpose is concerned, when we are making some products out of this wood, this is not desirable. So this has to be removed. Why? Because it is soft. Okay. So any soft wood will not be durable. It will not have the strength. Okay. So it has to be removed. So simply what we are doing, we are keeping this log of wood into the flowing water. Because of the force of water, when it is allowed to stay there for 2 to 4 weeks, because of this force, what will happen? This sap will be removed. It will be taken away. And you will only be left with the inner part of the wood, as we have seen in the cross section of the wood, and that is the heart wood. Okay, heart wood is the hardest part of the tree. So this is called as water seasoning. Second, it is air seasoning. In the process of air seasoning, timber logs are arranged in layers in shed. The arrangement is done by maintaining some gap with the ground. So, platform is built on ground at 300 feet from the ground. The logs are arranged in such a way that air is circulated freely between the logs. By the movement of air, the moisture content in timber slowly reduces and seasoning occurs. Even though it is slow process, it will produce well seasoned timber. So in this, we are not using any water. We are just using air. Okay, and what we are doing, we are building a platform which is uh, uh, approximately 300 of height above the ground. And we are placing all the timbers that we have to season on this platform. Then what we are doing, we are taking the source of an air, and this movement of air is forced on these logs of wood, right? And it is allowed to be there for some time, and after some time, the moisture content in the timber slowly reduces, and hence the seasoning is complete. We say that seasoning. What is seasoning? If somebody asks you what is seasoning, it is the process of reducing the moisture. Okay, so moisture can be reduced with the help of either water or with the help of air. If you are using water, it is called as water seasoning. If you are using air, it is called as air seasoning. So there might be a question in your mind, if you want to reduce water moisture, why we are using water? Water will increase the moisture content. But water is used for basically the moisture content in the wood is because of the sap wood we say. Okay, if you remove the sap from the wood, it becomes a hardwood, purely hardwood. Okay, so our intention is to remove the sap or dry the sap, right? So that we are doing here. We are using water because it is using force, and because of this force, the sap is removed. Okay, and hence we call it as water seasoning or air seasoning. Then the last is the artificial seasoning. So in this case, we are not using any water, not air, direct air or the natural air, but we are using some artificial methods. And this is of course faster as compared to natural methods because natural method will take its own time. It is a slow process. Although you don't have to use much of the energy in that because flowing water will not require any energy. You just have to keep your logs of food into the flowing water, but it is a slow process. If you want to make the process fast, then you have to use some external energy, and that will cost you. So natural seasoning gives good results but takes more time. So artificial seasoning of timber is developed nowadays. By artificial seasoning, timber is seasoned with within 4 to 5 days. So it only takes 4 to 5 days. In this method, the timber is stacked on the large trolleys, which are then driven into the hot chamber. So you have a trolleys, and one over the above, you keep on placing the timbers that you have to season. And after this trolley is filled up completely, then you take this trolley into a chamber which is having the hot atmosphere. You have to create this with the help of some external source of energies, right? So you take this trolley along with the timber into this hot chamber, and what happens there? Hot air or dry steam is then pushed into the chamber under controlled temperature conditions. So there is a hot air or dry steam which is forced on the timber which is kept on the trolleys. The moisture content is reduced. So the moisture content is removed because of this heated atmosphere and the air which is hot and it is forced on the timber. The moisture content is reduced because the evaporation takes place and ultimately the timber gets seasoned, and hence you are successful in removing the moisture content from the timber, and hence the seasoning is done. So this is the artificial method of seasoning. So is it clear to you all?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Why only one or two? Yes, sir. Are you all there in the class, or just logged in?
Yes,
And
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
so this is all about the theory of your carpentry shop, and now it is time for the practical. Uh, and in the last class, we have performed the cross slab joint. In this class, we will be performing the corner joint number one, and second we'll be performing the T joint. Okay, these two joints will be performing. So are you all ready to see the demonstration of the practical?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Then I am playing and observe this practical very minutely. It will be showing all the processes in detail. And if you have any doubt or query, you can ask me afterwards. So we have Mr. Sunil Kumar, who has done this practical in the carpentry shop. Okay, is it visible to you? The video is visible to you with audio? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'm playing the video, and this is the corner lap joint. He's making the corner lap joint. You can see the tools, you can see the table, and on the table you have a bench vise, which is the holding tool, and you have chisel, and you have saw, which is a cutting tool. Apart from that, you will be having the jack planes and the file, rasp file, which he will be using for finishing. Apart from that, some of the measuring and the marking tool that he will be using is the scale, the scriber, and he might be using pencil. So just observe all the tool and the exact procedure, how it is done. Doing the work with right procedure is very important. Otherwise, you will not get a good quality product. You will not be able to make the parts to high accuracy. Accuracy can be in the form of dimensional accuracy, that means the length and the other vital dimensions of the workpiece. And because of this, your fitting will not be proper. So just see.
गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल ऑफ यू। आज हम आपको मेजरिंग कॉर्नर लैप जॉइंट एंड ऑपरेशन कंप्लीट कॉर्नर लैप जॉइंट आपको करवाएंगे। इसके लिए सबसे पहले हम क्या करेंगे कि हमने मेजरिंग एंड मार्किंग करनी है। आफ्टर दैट उसके बाद हमें कटिंग ऑपरेशन करना है। तो स्टूडेंट सबसे पहले हम मेजरिंग करेंगे। मेजरिंग करने के लिए क्या है कि सबसे पहले हम स्केल को लेंगे। स्केल को लेके सबसे पहले हमें हाफ डिवाइडेशन पे आना है। हाफ डिवाइडेशन का मतलब है कि टोटल इसका विड्थ है 4 सेंटीमीटर, तो हमने इसको मार्क कर लिया 2 सेंटीमीटर पे, और इधर से भी हमने मार्क कर लिया 2 सेंटीमीटर पे। दोनों को हम आपस में मिला देंगे। सेम 2 सेंटीमीटर, 2 सेंटीमीटर, 2 सेंटीमीटर, टोटल 4 सेंटीमीटर, तो हाफ 2 सेंटीमीटर। ट्राई स्क्वायर को रखा हमने, और हमने इसको मिला दिया। अब इसका विड्थ टोटल है 4, तो सबसे पहले हम क्या करेंगे, 4 सेंटीमीटर पे हमने एक अपर साइड में पॉइंट लिया, अपोजिट साइड भी हमने 4 सेंटीमीटर पे एक पॉइंट लिया, दोनों पॉइंट्स को हमने मिला दिया। अब हमने ट्राई स्क्वायर लगाया, लाइन से लाइन को मैच कराया, देन उसके बाद हमने उसको लाइन को मैच करा दिया। सेम लाइन से लाइन को मैच कराया और हमने इसको, ये एक पार्ट का हमारा कंप्लीट हो गया है। सेम इसका अपोजिट साइड के लिए हमने क्या करना है, वही प्रोसेस सेम। सेंटर से 2, सेंटर से 2, सेम 2 सेंटीमीटर, ट्राई स्क्वायर को सेट किया, मिला दिया, फिर से ट्राई स्क्वायर लगाया, लाइन से लाइन को मैच कराया, और इसको लाइन को खींच दिया। इसके बाद 4, 4 पे पॉइंट लगाया, इधर से भी हमने 4 सेंटीमीटर पे पॉइंट लगाया। इन दोनों पॉइंट्स को ट्राई स्क्वायर से हमने मिला दिया। इधर से भी हमने लाइन से लाइन मैच कराया, इधर से भी हमने लाइन से लाइन को मैच कराया, मार्किंग कंप्लीट हो गई है। नेक्स्ट अब ऑपरेशन पे आएंगे। सबसे पहले क्या करेंगे, हम इसको जो है वर्कपीस को 22 में पकड़ेंगे। रिक्शो का यूज करेंगे।
डाउन
बराबर कर लेंगे, बराबर करके, और हमने पॉइंट पे लिया, पॉइंट पे लेके हमने कटिंग स्टार्ट कर दी। कटिंग हम करते हुए जाएंगे, वो हाथ तक जाएंगे। हम चेक करते रहेंगे बीच बीच में, कहीं हम डाउन तो नहीं जा रहे। इस तरह से कटिंग हमारी हो गई है। इसको हम खोल देंगे और फिर इसको वर्टिकल लेंगे। बीच बीच में चेक करते रहेंगे। ये हमारा एक कॉर्नर पीस रिमूव हो गया इसमें से, और इसको हम साइड रख देंगे। नेक्स्ट पीस को लगाएंगे। थोड़ा लाइन से एक्सेस लेंगे ताकि फाइलिंग करके बाद में इसको मेंटेन कर पाए। फॉरवर्ड स्टॉक इसका क्लीन आता है, कटिंग इसकी जो है वो बैकवर्ड स्टॉक है। ये चीजें हम चेक करते रहेंगे कहीं डाउन तो नहीं जा रही। ये हमारा इस साइड से कंप्लीट हो गया। अब हम इसको हॉरिजॉन्टली पकड़ेंगे। ये हमारा कॉर्नर पीस का भी निकल गया। ये हमारा कंप्लीट हुआ कॉर्नर लेफ्ट जॉइंट। थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू।
Okay, students, did you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this
Yes,
this joint was corner left joint. So the joint was made from the corner. Both the sides of the wooden piece were cut from the corner, and we are making the joint, and it should match exactly. ऐसा ना हो कि आपकी कटिंग प्रॉपर ना हो और आपका जो मैचिंग है दैट मैच इज नॉट अलाइन प्रॉपरली और इट इज mismatching or it is misaligned. So can you tell me what is the most important operation in this according to you? Which one was the most
Measurements.
exactly?
So starting the saw, cutting.
Cutting the saw. Okay,
No,
yes.
so starting the mark.
When we are starting cutting the how we start the cut, that you want to say?
Yes, sir. It really, I mean, if you are not precise in that moment, I think the cut can be improper.
That means you want to say that the stroke of the saw should be exactly horizontal. It should not go upward or downward. Is it what you want to say?
No, no, sir. Like when we start, if we are not following the line in the starting itself, so we may do an improper cut. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yes. So if you are not cutting just over the marking, because first you have marked with the help of a pencil, and you have no,
Yes, sir.
if you are not placing the blade of the this thing, your saw
Saw.
on that marking,
Yes, sir.
then it will be not proper. This is what you want to say.
Yes, sir. We deviate a lot afterwards.
Okay. So in this case, yes, Yuraj, in this case also there are two possibilities. One is that you start before the line, and one is you start after the line. Okay, which one is more dangerous?
If we cut off
Sir,
more material than needed, that is much more dangerous, I think,
That is
Sir,
much
because
after the
extra
line.
material can be filed
after
off.
the line.
After the line.
very good. If you cut after the line, beyond the line, then it is unrepairable. Because if there is any improper dimensions, if you cut, it is only possible if you take a shorter cut. If you take the less dimension, that can be increased afterward. But if you cut a larger dimension than the standard dimension, which is mentioned with the help of a pencil, then it will not be rectified. Then your part will be rejected. It will go into a scrap. Okay. Yes. And anybody, any other student want to share their views regarding this? Which is more important? Which is the most important operation in this, which he has done?
Sir, measurements.
Yes, Parth, measurement. Yes. Yes. Not only this, in any activity, don't you think that your planning is the most important part? Not only this, if I take any activity, okay,
Yes, sir.
say for example your studies. If you have an exam after 1 month and you have 5 subjects to study, okay, so you will plan how much time is to be devoted to a particular subject depending upon the difficulty of the subject, or depending upon your comfort with that particular subject. Okay, if you make a wrong planning, if you give more days to that subject, which should not be given that much of time, so at the end you will find that you are not prepared completely with the 5 subjects. That means your planning is wrong. No matter how much you study or how much time you devote, but if your planning is wrong, then you will realize that all efforts are gone in waste. Similarly here, if your marking is wrong, गलत मार्क कर लेते हो, गलत मेजरमेंट कर लेते हो, तो आप भले ही आपकी कटिंग परफेक्ट हो, जैसे कि somebody told me that the this thing saw should be placed just over the marking. Okay, if you place the saw just over the marking, cut on the given line itself, not even a 0.1 centimeter left or right, everything is perfect. But what went wrong? All these efforts are waste if your marking is wrong. If you were asked to mark a line in 2 centimeters, and if you are taking or if you are taking the measurement as 2.2 centimeter, right? So your marking and measurement is itself wrong. Whatever efforts you put in, whatever next stages you go after that, that is going to be wrong. So, according to me, and many of you have mentioned also, that measuring and marking is the most important operation in this carpentry shop. So, you have to be very precise with the measurement and the marking. Any other questions? Do you have any questions? Or if you do not have any questions, then I'll ask the questions to you. So, it's better you ask me the questions.
Sir, I have one question for T joint.
Yes.
Sir, do you have any video of T joint? I mean, I would want to see it, because how would we make the last cut? I mean, first we'll make 2 cuts which are vertical. Then how will we put our saw in the horizontal cut? I would like to see it.
Okay, let me see. If I have a video, I'll show it to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Anyone else is having any other question?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, can you please upload this video for the one you showed right now in MS Teams? I have poor internet connection. I was having problems. I could not see the video at all.
Okay, but I'll do it. I'll do that.
Any lab inspector?
Is it visible with audio?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So somebody asked me for the T joint, and this is the video for the T joint. Just see and observe everything very minutely. Okay.
First of सब कुछ है। तो स्टूडेंट्स आज हम आपको टी जॉइंट बनवाएंगे। उसके लिए सबसे पहले हम आपको मार्किंग बताते हैं, उसके बाद ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट करेंगे। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सबसे पहले क्या है कि हमने जो है 2 सेंटीमीटर की लाइन सेंटर में ली, इधर से 2 सेंटीमीटर की लाइन सेंटर में ली, टोटल विड्थ 4 सेंटीमीटर। अब इस पीस को हमें क्या है, यहाँ से ये पोर्शन इसका रिमूव कराना है। इसमें जॉइंट करने के लिए जो टी जॉइंट बनाएंगे इस प्रकार से। अब टी जॉइंट में क्या है कि हमने सेंटर से 2 सेंटीमीटर का डिवाइडेशन लिया, 2 सेंटीमीटर का डिवाइडेशन लिया, आपस में इनको जो है मैच कर दिया। यहाँ से 4 सेंटीमीटर पे पॉइंट लिया, 4 सेंटीमीटर पे पॉइंट लिया, और ये अब हमें इसमें से ये पार्ट ये रिमूव करना है। रिमूव करते ही इसमें से ये कैविटी रिमूव हो जाएगी, इसमें से ये पार्ट रिमूव हो जाएगा, इन दोनों को आपस में मैच करा दिया जाएगा, कंप्लीट हो जाएगा आपका टी जॉइंट। ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे पहले क्या है, हमने इसको 22 में पकड़ना है। ये रिक्शो है, रिक्शो से हमने क्या है इसको इजीली एक पॉइंट बनाना है।
This is the cutting process.
इसके पॉइंट तक हमें जाना है। इसको हमें खोल लेना है यहाँ से। हॉरिजॉन्टल पकड़ना है इसको। हमारा कॉर्नर कंप्लीट हो गया। अब मैं सेंटर वाले पीस को नेक्स्ट कट स्टार्ट हो गया आपका। एक बार चेक कर लेंगे। सबसे पहले थोड़ा सा इसको कैविटी में ले जाएंगे, कैविटी में ले जाके इसको पकड़ेंगे और इधर से चीजल के थ्रू, जैसा कि पहले बताया गया था, ये पीस बाहर हो गया यहाँ से। हम इसको थोड़ा ऊपर लेंगे और चेक करेंगे। लाइन को बिल्कुल इससे मैच कर लेंगे और इसको पकड़ लेंगे इजीली। बहुत छोटा छोटा पीस निकालना है। ये कैविटी में से चीजल के थ्रू मटेरियल को रिमूव कराया जा रहा है। अपोजिट साइड से लेंगे, चीजल को एकदम एंड पे रखेंगे। ये सॉफ्ट वुड है, बहुत आसानी से काटना होता है, क्योंकि एक क्रैक भी हो जाता है काटते में, इसलिए इसको बहुत आसानी से काटना है। इसके ऊपर इसको ओवरलैप कराएंगे।
Okay, so is it clear? Have you seen the T joint?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
Yes.
we have finished with the 3 practicals on the this thing carpentry shop. One is the cross slab joint, another one is the corner joint, and the third one which we have done right now is the T lap joint. है ना? We have finished the 3 practicals on carpentry. Apart from this, we have also studied the theory. Now we come to the writing part of it. How do you have to write? I'll just try to share a PDF. I don't know whether it will be shared. Let me try, which is your manual. Are you able to see this page, experiment number 1?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is your manual. Experiment number 1. The heading is to make middle lap T joint. This is what we have seen just now, middle lap T joint. Then yesterday we have, in the last class we have seen the cross lap joint. Okay, and the T joint using carpentry. Sorry, middle lap T joint, cross lap joint. There is no corner joint in this, no? So you make one corner joint. There is no mortise and tenon joint. So you have to make the modifications in this. So you have to write 3 experiments, 3 different experiment. Okay, experiment number 1, 2, and 3. These 3 experiments will be related to the carpentry. The first heading will be to make the cross lap joint. The second will be to make the corner lap joint. Third will be the T lap joint. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Is this page scrolling down or no?
Yes, sir. It's scrolling.
Yes.
Okay. So first is objective. You have to write the objective. T lab में T lab लिखोगे, cross में cross लिखोगे. Accordingly आप change करोगे. यहाँ पे देखो एक general लिखा हुआ है. So this is what I wanted to explain you. इसीलिए मैंने upload नहीं किया था इसको ना कि आप गलती ना करो. So objective cross में cross, T में T, corner में corner to make. Okay. Apparatus will be same in all the 3. Material used will be same. ठीक है. Wood का नाम दिया हुआ है इसमें. Soft wood है. Theory will be same. Now in this case, in this manual, the theory given is you can see here various types of timber जो हमने आज पढ़ा हुआ है ना, ये लिखा हुआ है. उसके बाद advantages of plywood दिया हुआ है. उसके बाद defects in the wood दिया हुआ है जो हमने आज पढ़ा हुआ है, right? Seasoning of wood दिया हुआ है, types of seasoning दिया हुआ है, सब दिया है यहाँ पे. This is theory. और उसके बाद नीचे आते हो प्रोसीजर में this is the procedure, the drawing. This you have to draw on the left hand side. Now this is for the lap joints. क्रॉस लैप भी है इसमें, आपका टी लैप भी है इसमें. ठीक है, तो ये 2 आपको यूज करना पड़ेगा. कॉर्नर लैप ये मीटर्ड हाफ लैप दिया हुआ है इसमें, मीटर्ड जॉइंट जिसमें एंगल पे कट किया हुआ है. तो मीटर्ड जॉइंट और कॉर्नर लैप में ये फर्क है कि एंगल नहीं है. ठीक है, तो अकॉर्डिंगली आपको फिगर ड्रॉ करना है. ये वाला फिगर ड्रॉ नहीं करोगे मीटर्ड हाफ लैप जॉइंट का. सी इन द बुक you have to draw the figure of corner lap joint. If you will draw this joint, I'll mark it wrong. Okay. Cross lap joint यहाँ पे T lap joint तो चलो ये तो ठीक है फिगर. Cross lap joint का भी आप देखोगे बुक से. Okay. You have to draw the correct figures. This is only for your reference. ये पूरा कॉपी नहीं करना है आपको. फॉर्मेट आपको लेना है जो चीजें इसमें लिखी है जो रिलेटेड है वही लेनी है, और नहीं है तो आपको बुक से लिखनी है। ओके। फिर यहाँ पे प्रोसीजर लिखा हुआ है, प्रोसीजर ऑफ लैप जॉइंट। यू हैव टू राइट डाउन द प्रोसीजर फॉर ऑल द 3 डिफरेंटली। प्रैक्टिकल नंबर 1 जो रहेगा लैप का रहेगा तो लैप, कॉर्नर का रहेगा तो कॉर्नर जॉइंट, टी का रहेगा तो टी।
So we have to write theory same in both.
I'll come to the theory. अभी ये प्रोसीजर सुन लो, ठीक है? तो प्रोसीजर आपके डिफरेंट रहेंगे सब में, इट विल नॉट बी द सेम प्रोसीजर। तो उसमें मेजरिंग कितना किया आपने, कितना लिए, जैसे कि अगर आपका क्रॉस सेक्शन 4x4 का है तो आपने 2 सेंटीमीटर का लिए साइड से, और हाउ यू हैव देन मार्क्ड इट फ्रॉम द एक्सेस। ओके, जो उसमें था ड्राइंग, उसमें वीडियो में, इसमें सभी के दिए हुए हैं, तो अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू राइट। मोटाई स्टेनन तो आपको मैंने करवाया नहीं है, जो आपके प्रैक्टिकल में नहीं है अभी। उसके बाद यू हैव टू राइट द यस प्रोसीजर इज देयर। ऑब्जर्वेशन यू हैव टू राइट, दिस विल बी कॉमन। रिजल्ट एंड डिस्कशन विल बी देयर। रिजल्ट में आपका जो भी जॉइंट रहेगा वो जॉइंट लिखोगे आप, हर प्रैक्टिकल में वही जॉइंट लिखोगे, ये नहीं कि सेम जॉइंट लिखते चले गए। द कॉमन मिस्टेक्स विच द स्टूडेंट्स डू एट, आई एम टेलिंग यू, दे गो ऑन कॉपिंग। क्रॉस लैप हो या कॉर्नर हो या टी लैप जॉइंट हो, सब में एक ही उनका रिजल्ट रहता है कि वी हैव मेक दिस जॉइंट। कंक्लूजन लिखोगे अकॉर्डिंगली आप, then you'll write down the precautions. Okay, precautions can be same in all the 3. Last, there are some viva questions, some important viva questions. Okay, now we come to the theory. You have understood how to write the procedure and how to draw the drawings?
Excuse me sir.
Yes.
सर ये तीनों एक्सपेरिमेंट अलग अलग स्टार्ट करेंगे, एक्सपेरिमेंट 1, एक्सपेरिमेंट 2, एक्सपेरिमेंट 3?
हाँ, ये तीनों लिखोगे क्योंकि तीनों का ऑब्जेक्टिव अलग रहेगा।
ओके सर, मतलब
we come to the theory. Okay, इस वाले में दिया हुआ है आपको ओनली अबाउट द वुड, टिम्बर के बारे में दिया हुआ है, राइट? थ्योरी। तो एक प्रैक्टिकल में आप टिम्बर का लिखोगे, एक कॉपी पेन लेके बैठ जाओ, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि किसमें क्या लिखना है। जो क्रॉस स्लैब जॉइंट रहेगा उसमें लिखोगे ये वाली थ्योरी, क्रॉस स्लैब जॉइंट में। सेकंड जो रहेगा आपका वो रहेगा आपका कॉर्नर जॉइंट। कॉर्नर जॉइंट में आप लिखोगे
क्रॉस लैब में ये टिम्बर की थ्योरी।
हाँ, एंड डू वन थिंग, मेक दिस प्रैक्टिकल ऑफ क्रॉस लैब जॉइंट, जिसमें टिम्बर की थ्योरी लिखोगे, ये रहेगा प्रैक्टिकल 2, ठीक है? प्रैक्टिकल 2 रहेगा। प्रैक्टिकल 1 जो रहेगा उसमें आपके टूल्स के बारे में आएगा, क्योंकि सबसे पहले तो टूल्स को डिफाइन करोगे आप। तो पहला जो प्रैक्टिकल रहेगा वो रहेगा आपका कॉर्नर जॉइंट। ऑब्जेक्टिव विल बी टू मेक द कॉर्नर लैब जॉइंट। दिस विल बी अ प्रैक्टिकल नंबर 1। अब इस प्रैक्टिकल में लिखोगे वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ टूल्स। ओके, for example, measuring and marking tool. If you have used a scale, if you have used a tri-square, so you will write down on the right hand side scale, उसके बारे में you will write down a brief description, say 1 or 2 line. Then tri-square, उसके बारे में brief description 1 or 2 line. And exactly opposite on the blank page, जैसे practical copy होती है, one side rule, one side blank. तो जो आपका लेफ्ट पेज रहेगा उसमें आपकी ड्राइंग होगी उसकी। वेरी गुड ड्राइंग यू हैव टू ड्रॉ विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ ड्राइंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स। इट शुड नॉट बी अ फ्री हैंड ड्राइंग, it should be a labeled drawing. जैसे for example, if you are drawing a this thing saw, ठीक है? So you have to draw where is the handle, where is the blade, okay, where are the teeth of the saw. All this should be labeled. ये सारा बुक्स में दिया हुआ है, बुक्स में भी दिया हुआ है। अगर बुक्स नहीं है तो इंटरनेट पे भी अभी अवेलेबल है सब, अगर आप गूगल सर्च करते हो तो, ठीक है? थर्ड प्रैक्टिकल जो रहेगा वो रहेगा आपका कौन सा रह गया, कौन सा जॉइंट रह गया थर्ड वाला? T joint रहेगा. So your practical number 3 will be objective will be to make the T joint according to the given dimension. ये third practical रहेगा. So in this I give you the liberty that you don't write any theory, क्योंकि theory आप 2 में लिख चुके हो पहले. So इसमें आप theory नहीं लिखोगे, इसमें बाकी सब कुछ लिखोगे. Objective रहेगा, material आपका जो material use किया वो रहेगा, apparatus रहेगा, material use रहेगा. Skip the theory part of it, because you have written covered the entire theory in the first 2 practical, and directly you will come to all this theory. You will skip out. So इससे then you will come to the procedure. In procedure you will be having the drawing, and on the right hand side you will have to write down step by step. Okay. और उसके बाद आप नीचे आओगे तो you will have to write down ये प्रोसीजर हो गया. प्रोसीजर के बाद ऑब्जर्वेशन, रिजल्ट, कंक्लूजन एंड प्रिकॉशंस. इज इट क्लियर टू यू? एनी डाउट्स यू आस्क मी नाउ.
सर प्रैक्टिकल 1 थ्योरी में क्या था सर?
प्रैक्टिकल 1 थ्योरी था आपका कौन सा जॉइंट बताया था मैंने? कॉर्नर जॉइंट.
सर टूल्स बताए जॉइंट
नहीं, जॉइंट कौन सा था?
कॉर्नर जॉइंट.
वेरियस टाइप
सब लोग को सबका एक ही होना चाहिए, ठीक है? और फर्स्ट इज टू मेक द कॉर्नर जॉइंट. इन दैट द थ्योरी विल कंटेन ऑल द टूल्स. ठीक है? फर्स्ट प्रैक्टिकल विल बी कंटेनिंग ऑल द टूल्स. सेकंड, वी कम टू सेकंड ऑब्जेक्टिव विल बी टू मेक द क्रॉस स्लैब जॉइंट. एंड द थ्योरी विल कंटेन द वुड टिम्बर जो मैंने आज पढ़ाया है. ओके, जो इसमें भी दिया हुआ है. आई विल जस्ट अपलोड इट ऑन द MS टीम. अभी मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा इसको. You can use it for reference. Just don't copy it everywhere. Third वाला जो रहेगा, you may skip out the theory in that, and it will only have the objective as to make the T joint. And उसमें theory नहीं रहेगी, उसमें सिर्फ आपका procedure and other things. It will have other things. Now is it clear?
Yes sir.
So will you also
Yes sir.
procedure for the first and the third one?
देखो, I don't know. This manual is not having the exact procedure for all this thing joints, but you have seen in the video. Okay, you have to whatever you have seen in the video, he has shown you the procedure accurately. How the marking is done, how the cutting is done, how he is holding the tool. Okay, and you have to write down exactly similar.
Sir, please upload the videos as well so we can
Okay,
refer.
I'll try to upload the video. I'll try to I'll upload. I don't know whether the videos are uploaded here on the MS team. Chalo, I'll try to upload the video, and I'll definitely upload the manual. So you can take the reference of this manual, the format of this manual, but you have to modify accordingly depending upon the joint about which you are writing. Are you getting my point?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
If you have any question, you can ask. Don't make the mistake, because when I'll be checking your bolo.
Sir, what book we could refer?
I've told you about the book in the last class, didn't I? What is the book? Someone tell me. Can you tell me, any one of you? No one has written the name of the book. I have told you in the last class. It is Workshop Technology. This is the name of the book, Volume 1. The author's name is, there are 2 books. One book is by B.S. Raghuvanshi. And another book is, the name is the same, Workshop Technology. And the author is Hazra and Chaudhary. But both the books will be Volume 1. They are having 2 volumes.
Sir, can you please repeat the name of authors?
Author, first book is by B.S. Raghuvanshi. This is the good one, according to your syllabus. And the second is by Hazra and Chaudhary. H-A-Z-R-A. Hazra is one author and Chaudhary is another author. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm taking the attendance for first. I'm taking the attendance for 5X. Jashandeep Singh.
Present, sir.
RMA.
Present sir.
Divyam.
Present sir, but I'm an X batch.
You're in X batch. This is the X batch attendance. Mohit.
Present sir.
Shekhar.
Present sir.
Sahil.
Present, sir.
Vanshika.
Present sir.
Vidhi.
Present sir.
Then Shivansh.
Present, sir.
Hiren.
Present, sir.
Samir.
Present, sir.
Sudiksha.
Present sir.
Yash.
Yash present, sir.
Okay. Then we have Vanshveer.
Present, sir.
Sankirat.
Present, sir.
Neha.
Present, sir.
Parth.
Present, sir.
Aditya.
Present, sir.
Sajja.
Present, sir.
Okay, this time we have only 19 students. Last time we have more students. Have some of the students moved to other class, other sections?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are 19 students in X batch. And what about Y batch? I don't have the names of the students of Y batch. So what to do? How many of you are there, Y batch? Total, I can see 32, out of which 19 are from X batch. Remaining are from Y batch.
Sir, 16 are in Y batch.
So how do I take attendance? Should I write your name one by one, or what to do?
So we could post in general our attendance.
Right, in general.
Just a minute. Okay, you can do one thing. You can write your name, Y batch student. You can give it in the conversation box. Will it be okay?
Yes, sir. So I want to ask the experiments which you have told to write. So the Y batch students also have to write these experiments.
No, it's not for the Y batch. Y
Okay,
batch,
sir.
I have only taken the class for today. Not, I'll not be continuing with you. Okay, your faculty will be coming back next week.
Okay, sir.
So my batch students don't have to add this.
No, you don't have to write. Y batch don't have to write. Only this is only for the X batch. And you have to write it down, and you have to write it down by next week. When you come to the class next week, you should be ready with your this thing, practical.
So we have to email you or we have to send the CR?
I'll tell you. You be prepared with your file. I'll tell you. Okay. Any other question? I'll be uploading the manual for your reference. Just remember that it is only for the reference. Don't copy it blindly. You have to put the relevant matter in the 3 practicals. If you're writing about a cross lap joint, ऐसा नहीं हो कि आप procedure लिख रहे हो corner lap joint का, because the procedure are different. How you cut it, how you mark it, it is different for all the 3. Okay, if you don't have if you don't have in writing, if you don't get a book, you just remember the video and you can write it yourself also. Step by step you can go. It is not necessary that you copy it from a book. If you write it yourself, that will be very nice. In fact, that will be very
Sir?
good.
Can you provide the soft copy of the book?
No, I don't have the soft copy of the book.
Okay, sir.
Sir, so in the first experiment, we have to draw the tools also.
Yes, in the first experiment, the theory is tools. The joint is corner lap joint, corner joint, and in theory you have to write the details of the tools.
So we don't have to draw them.
No, you have to draw, of course. Of course, you have to draw and you have to write. The same you used to do in your schools. You have a practical copy. Left hand side is blank, right hand side is rule. On the left hand side, you have to draw. On the right hand side, you have to give the explanation, very brief explanation about each tool.
Okay, sir.
Acha, one more thing I wanted to ask you. I have told you to write about the wood in the practical number 2nd. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Will you be covering the types of joint in that practical? Because type of joint is also very important.
So we can write it in third experiment.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Because third experiment is you're not writing any theory as such. So why don't you write that in the third experiment? types of joints.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So do one thing. In the third experiment, you write the types of joint in theory. Don't write it in the second experiment. Second experiment will only have the timber. What are the defects in timber? Third experiment will have the types of joints. The diagram on the left side and explanation, hardly 2 or 3 sentences on the right hand side for each joint. Because when you have to prepare for the Viva, it will be very handy for you. It will be ready because these are the questions. What are the type of joint? What are its application? If you write it, it will be ready with you to study during the time of Viva. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Chalo, if you don't have any question, you can move to your next class.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll meet in the next class now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, take care.
Sir.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.